Hello and welcome to Redefining the Significance of You Time for you, by you, because of you. My name is Denise Drinkwalter, and I'm an empowerment life coach supporting women around the globe to lean into and realize the importance of you. The goal of this channel is to provide you, the viewer, with some takeaways that will help you shift, change, reevaluate, or become more aware of what is truly possible. We have a variety of incredible guests who will share their life experiences that have helped them become the amazing human beings that they are today. Every one of us, sometime in our lives, has had that infamous free time, frequently feeling guilty, embarrassed, or wrong for taking out time for ourselves. Well, we are absolutely here to change that and support you to see what is possible for you when you take the time for you, by you, because of you. It is my honor and privilege to introduce Andrea Isaacs to you today, a seasoned expert with over 30 years of experience in the field of emotional mastery. From a shy and voiceless childhood, Andrea embarked on a transformative journey that led her to discover the power of belief in oneself. Through her own experiences, she uncovered the crucial role of emotional mastery plays in recognizing and embracing one's unique gifts and life purpose. Now, as the founder of the Emotional Mastery Institute with 7 years of impactful programs, coachings, and trainings, Andrea has personally touched the lives of thousands worldwide. Her mission is clear: to empower leaders and entrepreneurs to fully believe in their gifts and life purpose, amplifying their impact and creating a meaningful, joyful life along the way. With Andrea's guidance, clients transform from doubting themselves to knowing they matter, from questioning their gifts to confidently recognizing their unique contribution to this world. She specializes in unblocking barriers that hinder individuals from living their true life purpose. Join Andrea on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment and unlock the potential that only you can bring to this world. I can't wait to have our conversation.
It's so great to be here with you, Denise. I just love what you're up to and that you focus on the significance of each individual and their uniqueness. I'm so moved by that.
It's so lost, isn't it, in our world, because we have to fit in.
Right. Blend.
But we don't.
No, we don't.
And we're here to help people understand how important that is.
Right.
And that the more we show up as our true self, the better the world will be because of it, right?
Yeah, and the more we blend in, the more we lose that. We lose the uniqueness that we're here to bring. Yeah.
Tell me, emotional mastery. I am sure I will have people in the audience going, "You can master emotions? What? Excuse me?"
Well, I've had people argue with me about this term. One person said, "What do you mean master my emotions? I'm not going to control them." Well, mastering your emotions, control can be used in a number of ways. It's not controlling over them and suppressing them and repressing them. That's what this person thought was meant by mastering them. He thought I meant repressing them. It's the absolute opposite. There's nothing wrong or bad about any emotion, but what can be wrong or bad about them is what we do with them. So being the master of our emotions is knowing how to manage them so we express them in a way that they can be heard and received, and the other person can hear you and understand and be curious, and you can be curious about their perspective. And they can, when we master our emotions and bring up these difficult topics, we have conversations where each person starts to see the other person's perspective, and the conflict, real or potential, can be resolved, and it never has to happen again. And you understand each other better. It cultivates and deepens a connection, a relationship, instead of challenging or ending it.
Say that again. That was amazing.
The last part,
how it
all of it.
deepens. Yeah, deepens.
Yeah. So when we know how to manage our emotions and we have emotional mastery, we can bring up difficult topics in a way that we understand each other's perspectives in a way that nurtures and enriches and deepens our relationships instead of challenging or ending them. Brilliant. It's magical when it happens.
Can anybody do it though?
Pretty much. I would say there are people in the world who don't want to change. That's just who I am. That's just me. Take it or leave it. So you can't expect water from a rock. And if the person that you're having this challenge with is like that, do not expect that person to change. As we all know, we can never change the other person. We can only change ourselves and our expectations. It might mean we need to change what relationship we're in with that person. But I believe anybody who's listening to us right now is listening because they are willing and open to growth and change and evolving into our best and highest selves.
Right. I love that. What you're talking about is so empowering, right? You're an empowerment coach. I'm an empowerment coach. We're about giving people that knowledge that they have so much within them that isn't being tapped.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I believe we tap into when we totally believe in who we are. We don't have to blend in because it's the way we stand out that makes us unique. And when we own it and believe in it and take a stand for it, you're not an outcast. You are standing in your value, and people see you for who you are and the gift that you have, because we all have a unique gift to bring. And when we blend in, we don't even know what it is.
Exactly. We're lost. We don't know who we are. We don't have a clue who we are because we're trying to fit everybody else's molds and everybody else's, agenda. And what happens to us, we get lost in all of it. I know when, right? We lose our way. There's something that I've been working on, and this is exactly what I do. Is the work is supporting women in midlife years to not come up with their identity because they already are who they are. It's tapping into who they really are. It's not creating a new identity around things. It's like understanding through all your life's journey, all of the things that have happened are a result of where you are now, and massaging and understanding the depths of your soul in a new way, right?
Oh yeah. Beautifully put. Yeah.
Because we do. I mean, in order to fit in, there are certain things that are expected, unwritten rules that we follow for years and years and years. I mean, when we talk parenting, when we talk, being the child, there's things that you have to do in a family unit. We understand all of that. Where it becomes challenging is when we shift too much and lose ourselves and our identity in that process of growth. And I find a lot of times, and maybe you can speak to this, that when we lose our way, then it's even harder to understand, our emotions, because we don't know what they are anymore. Because like you say, we've hidden them or we pushed them down because it wasn't okay to cry, or it wasn't okay to be angry, or whatever the case may be. Can you speak a little more to that kind of idea?
I'd love to. When we push down our emotions, we push down so many other things, like what we want, what our dreams are, what our gifts are, what our desires are, who we are. We just push it all down because in favor of being responsible, which is important, of course, being a moneymaker, providing for your family, and doing what you think you should do in order to provide for your family, in order to have the income you all need. And so we put aside what we want. We don't just put it aside. We start to forget what it is because that voice gets smothered. And so what I found when people are in midlife and beyond, they having lived a life of responsibility and putting their own desires aside. And now they're either thinking of retirement and they're like, I don't know what I would do with my time, or I feel life is so meaningless. And it's not that life is meaningless. We just forgot what gives our lives meaning. So what I do in my work is I find what has been blocking them. I can see in their blueprint, which is something we could talk about later. I can see in their blueprint what's been holding them back from hearing their heart's desire. And we unpack it. And when we do that, it's, it's like layers, as you know, in your work, it's layers and layers of unpacking until something arises, and it's like the heart heals. And then you're able to hear it. It speaks to you. And then you go, you get in touch with your heart's deepest longings. And it brings this joy, and it brings like an awareness of who you are now, that you can be, that you're free to be you now. And you don't have to wait till you retire. You can have that feeling of freedom anytime when we listen to our heart's longing.
So what you're talking about is doing something for you, by you, because of you. It doesn't enlist anybody else. What you're talking about, it's all about you.
Right. And now if part of who you are is to be of service of others, yes, and as they say in the airplane, put your mask on first. So when we put our longing and what's so important to us first, we have so much more to give to others, so much more.
Do you find people struggle with that concept though?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. So how do you help people understand or see that is truly possible?
Yeah. Well, the first is the way I have insight about that I get from their blueprint. The blueprint, by the way, is a result of your EQ quiz. And we can talk about that later, but the quiz just takes 5 or 10 minutes, and it generates a blueprint, which shows me how you've been showing up in your past and in your present. It shows me your unique combination of gifts that actually point to your life purpose. And it also shows me your unique combination of challenges that have held you back. And say, for example, as you were just mentioning, like, what if I've been living a life of service and I don't know what I want? I can see if that's been your challenge. And if so, it could be that way back, beginning of time, you were taught that your needs don't matter, or mom and dad didn't have time for your needs, or you were, what do they call them, a latchkey kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. So their mom and dad weren't there to give you a snack after school, or to help you with your homework, or to tell them a story about what happened at school, or what happened on the playground, or whatever. And so you just start to push to repress your needs, because it's more important that you show up the way mom and dad want you to show up. And later, it's more important to take care of someone else. And so that neural pathway of being of service is both your gift, because you do it so beautifully, and it becomes your biggest challenge. And so what we do is we go back to the early imprint, the first time it happened. And I have a healing modality. It's partially embodiment and it's mindset stuff. We go back to that early imprint, and there's a healing that happens, because it created a wound and a belief that, well, you don't matter. What you want doesn't matter. Your thoughts don't matter. Your feelings don't matter. Your gifts don't matter. Your dream doesn't matter. That's a wound that we carry. And then it's so hard to move towards a life we want, because we don't know what it is. And the wound takes up room. And when it heals, there's space. And I love when I see a client or a student find that space inside. And almost always they say something like this: well, now that there's space there, what's in its place? And they almost always say something like, I'm free. I'm free to be me. I'm free to be all that I am. And then it goes on from there. It's, the language is unique for everybody, but it gives you that sense of freedom and joy.
Which is exactly why we are here speaking about all of this enriching possibility for every single person, right? This quiz, give us a bit more around that so we can have a deeper understanding, please.
Sure. Well, it's based on a personality system called the Enneagram. Ennea means 9 in Greek, and it means it's 9 different personality styles, each with different gifts and predictable challenges. And I didn't used to lead with that word, because I don't just type people and say, this is your type. I feel like that's a very limited view of the system. It's just a doorway, because of my work being about embodiment. What we do is we embody more of the gifts and less of the challenges of each of them. And we all have different amounts, more and less, of the gifts and the challenges. And so the EQ quiz shows me how you show up in 18 areas of human emotion. And again, they have different combinations that point to your life purpose. And the quiz, when I talk about their results, I've heard this so many times, they'll say something to me like, You know me better than my partner, my lifelong partner, or I have more insight from just this discovery call than I've had from, years of therapy. And they hear how they hear that change can be easy,
Mm,
because I also have a ton of case studies, but they hear that it's possible, and
yeah,
they have hope that they can change. And I believe, I really put a stake in the ground for this, that change can be easy when you know how. And I have some
right.
tools that make it easy.
Perfect. That's brilliant. Because I come across a lot of people who are like, uh, I don't know if I have it in me to keep doing the, and I'm like, you know what? That is fear that's sitting back in here that has no idea what it's talking about. It's just protecting you. So take my hand and we can do this together. If you're willing,
Yeah.
like you say, if people are listening, they're obviously at a cusp of wanting something different,
Yeah.
needing to know more, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you have that one step forward, we can support through that next process. That's what you do, Andrea, is giving not only ideas, but tools that match each individual person. Like we talked about in the beginning, individuality is all of what we love to do, right? It's about
Mhm.
you. It's not about a bigger thing. It's all about you. And you can meet them exactly where they are. And with this blueprint you're talking about and the EQ quiz that you have referenced, it's like gives them a toolkit, right? It gives them a blueprint. You read the blueprint, they get access to information when they go through that process with you. Is that correct?
Exactly. You take the quiz, you immediately get your blueprint, and I get it too. You get an interpretation guide. You get a short video on what is emotional mastery with some examples about what some of the quiz results mean. There's a webinar called the Whammies webinar. And this is a word I came up with. I was talking to someone about her gifts and her challenges. And as she's hearing about the challenges, I see her kind of sinking in her seat, going, "Oh, I have so much change I have to do." And I knew I understood why she was having that feeling. But this word just came out of my mouth. I said, "Oh, it's not that much. It's just some whammies." And I didn't know, I hadn't thought of that word, but she said, like, "What?" And she kind of lit up. And a whammy is just like a knockout punch, and you can get up after that. When you have that knockout punch, it's like all your dominoes fall down. And what we do is we just stand up that first domino, and then everything else stands up, which means
Mm,
a whole bunch of other, the ripple effect of change ripples into every area until change just starts to happen on its own because you've changed. So yeah,
that's
the quiz is part of your toolkit, your emotional mastery toolkit, and the quiz is the first tool.
beautiful. Love it. So, if people want to access this information, it will be in the show notes in terms of your quiz, right? They can access the blueprint, they can get the information. There's a live link there. So if you are listening and going, pick me, you've been chosen. go, go to the show notes and click the live link, and you will get access to everything Andrea just spoke of and access to her as well, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Is there anything you can tell us about your mission? What is it that drives you to do what you do?
I think one of my biggest wounds in my early life was the message that I don't matter and I don't belong. And I'm stupid, wrong, and I don't belong. And I didn't know better, so I took it as truth. And many years later, I started to doubt it, and then I started to know it was wrong. And the belief system it created in me limited me so much in the life and the work and the business and the relationships that I created. And
Mm,
that's part of why I have so much passion for everybody knowing that you belong, you are doing the best you can, you're perfect just as you are, you absolutely 1,000% belong. And there's something about happiness, which I used to think was a superficial emotion, that all those happy people were superficial. And I wanted the meaning and the depth of life. And I had this wake up moment decades ago where I thought, if I'm going to hold on to that intention, I'm never going to be happy. And in that moment, I just changed my mind, and happiness became a value. And I can see on your blueprint too, if you're I call it your happiness factor, your joy factor. Are you doing all this other stuff? You've got these gifts you bring into the world, but are you happy? And there are people actually who are living their life purpose and they're not. And that can be a problem because I think we all deserve to have a meaningful, happy life. And I have a lot of passion about that because of my own journey, and that I want to live with happiness and joy along the way towards living my life purpose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And there was a reason why, I always believe this. There's a reason why you had the journey that you did so that you can bring your gifts and talents to show people what is truly possible. And the fact that you've helped thousands, I know there are thousands more, hundreds of thousands more lives you're going to be touching over the next 50 years. I know it.
Thank you.
I'm so honored to have you in this space with us here today. It has really been a privilege to have a brief tip of the iceberg conversation. And thank you for all that you do and all the gifts that you bring to this world. So if you want to connect with Andrea, please make sure you check the show notes, get access to that quiz, get your blueprint. Life is waiting for you. You get to choose what you're going to do with it. It is not too hard. She will guide you along the way. So thank you, Andrea, for being here today. It has been, like I say, an absolute pleasure being in your company, and your knowledge and skill set is an honor to have you here with us today. So thank you.
You're so welcome. And it's been a joy being with you, Denise.
If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Share it with all your friends. We would love to have more people accessing content like this. Everybody deserves to have these gifts in their back pockets. So make sure that you subscribe, and we will see you again next week. Thank you again, Andrea. Take care. Bye.